seen I don't know if you guys are going to add it in the edit or whatever, but like the picture of what the car looked like it was just like almost like a square. It's like just the center portion of the car. And I, of course, pull up like pretty quickly. And I remember looking in the car and you were just basically like this. And I remember, of course, my first thought is like, you know, I'm terrified. I'm like, dude, I hope you're not dead, right?
I'm Antonio Calvo, and welcome to Calvo Motorsports.
Check. Yeah, I can hear myself.
All right, well, we're here, tea time with Calvo. It's been a little while since we released a new episode. We got Jason from Shift-S3ctor. We got Shift-S3ctor this weekend, so we've been working around the clock. The guys are actually in the back now, still at 9 o'clock at night trying to get cars ready. And Jason finally made it into town, so I said, let's get on the podcast.
Oh yeah, it's good to be here, man. Love everything that you guys do, obviously, like super impressive. I'm just going to start it off because we were just talking about this before we went live, is the fucking crash. I know we're just going to dive right into it.
We'll dive right into that.
I'm going to dive right into it because what we were just talking about is how literally, I think 4 or 5 hours later, we were having shots in the bar. And obviously, you know, the safety equipment and everything you put on that car saved you from serious damage or death.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think I've ever told you my perspective of it. Which was
the only thing I remember that you told me was you ran up to the car landed right side up, and I was just there with like kind of my head down.
Yep.
And the first thing you thought was I was dead.
Yeah.
And then I think I was just only unconscious for about a minute?
I think 2 or 3 minutes.
2 or 3
minutes. You were
minutes.
out. Yeah, you were out. And so of course, you know, if anybody's have seen I don't know if you guys are going to add it in the edit or whatever, but like the picture of what the car looked like it was just like almost like a square. It's like just the center portion of the car. And I, of course, pull up like pretty quickly. And I remember looking in the car and you were just basically like this. And I remember, of course, my first thought is like, you know, I'm terrified. I'm like, dude, I hope you're not dead, right? But I remember immediately seeing, after that negative thought, I saw the Hans device on you. And I knew that with the roll bar and you're strapped in good with the Hans device, that you could definitely be okay. And that's when I sort of took a deep breath. I was like, okay, I think he should be okay, because that's what you got to sort of worry about, right? In that kind of
snapping my neck.
Yeah, snapping your neck. And I saw the Hans device and I was like, if that's installed properly, then you're probably okay, which you were, thank God.
Dude, no concussion. Literally, the only thing I did was I chipped my nail, and then I have some scratches on my my shin, I guess, from like kicking the underneath of the dash. But that was it. You know, I went into the hospital. Out of the hospital, they said nothing. You're completely okay. So we went and had a few beers that night.
So I never asked you this before, but how recent did you install that cage before the event? Was it like
that?
Had it been there for a while?
That cage was in there for a really long time for the previous owner.
Yeah.
He actually had us install it. Man, back in like 2018 for what was the other half mile company?
Want to go fast?
Want to go fast.
Yeah.
So it was Jeff Mosing owned the car. He's a local car guy here, and he had the green car before Vance did. Excuse me. And Jeff was like, I'm gonna go to Jeff races GT3 Cup professionally. Yeah. He's got F40s, you name it, 918s. He's got everything, and he goes, I've never broken 200 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, let's go to the half mile. So he's like, cool. Brings his 918, brings a Viper, and he's like, hey, I just want to make sure the Viper's, you know, he races Cup. Like, I don't know if you remember that really bad like 9-car pile up in Watkins Glen a few years ago?
With the Cup cars.
Yeah, with the Cup cars. Yeah. He was in that. He broke his back.
Oh, shit.
So, like, he's always been real big on safety, and he's like, hey, put a cage in this car before I go 200 miles an hour in it.
Yeah.
So we put it in for him. And, you know, I always drove the car because nobody else wanted to. And one thing that always happened with that car was, you know, I'm 6'1", and it had a factory seat in it. And it was just never low enough for me. And I wound up putting a seat in it the week before that accident. And I said, I want the seat on the ground. You know, I want my nose basically to be even with the top of the steering wheel. And I think that's one of the things that saved my life, because my side was pretty intact, but the passenger side, right where the A-pillar meets the roof,
Yeah.
I mean, that was caved in almost like a foot.
Oh shit.
So I think one of the lucky parts about the accident was I was going front over back. I never actually, I think I rolled it only once or twice on the roof,
Okay.
and then it immediately went into the up and down of the.
Right. I mean, it looks scary as fuck.
I remember like it's weird like the way the human mind works because
Yeah.
I didn't remember anything, and then like 2 weeks later it started coming back.
No way.
Yeah, it was the weirdest thing. Like I started remembering more and more and more like the EMT lady.
Yeah.
I didn't remember talking to her like the first few days,
Yeah.
even though I went to her the next day because she told me, she was like, yeah, you tried getting out of the car once you realized what
Yeah.
happened. I kind of freaked out a little bit. Like I woke up and she said, are you okay? And I said, yeah, is the car okay? And she's like, there's nothing left of it. Like
Yeah.
it's disintegrated. And I start looking around and I'm like, oh my God, there's really nothing left
Yeah.
of this thing. And then the second thought was, I'm not in any pain. And that freaked me out. Like,
Right, yeah.
So I looked down, I wiggled my toes and I pinched myself and I
Yeah.
felt it. And I'm like, I'm good. Get me the fuck out of this thing. And I start trying to move. And she was like, I forget her name, but I went up and I apologized the next day because she kept holding my head. She goes, stop fucking moving.
That's the most sensitive, fragile part of these, like, any kind of racing accident. And you had mentioned Jeff, who previously owned the car, and I feel like people that have road course experience,
Yes,
that's where you learn about
are
safety.
very, very up on safety
Yes.
versus, I had Billy Stocklin in here on the podcast, and he was reading the rules for the TX2K stuff, and he goes, they literally list no open toe shoes. Like you're gonna drive a 3,000 horsepower Lamborghini
Yeah.
with fucking flip flops on, and it's like, dude, you got to tell these guys because some of them will.
Yeah.
It's not a.
It's crazy. I mean, obviously Shift-S3ctor has been around a while, and it was just a little fun side project for myself and Ryan in the beginning. And there were no safety rules. It's just fucking unprepped half-mile airport racing, whatever. But then the cars got so fast, So then Ryan and I felt obligated to try to, create a safety rule set, try to enforce something. And and honestly, I think it's probably saved, a few lives since we started doing that. And I remember even back in the day, sort of thinking about, some of the other organizations that were doing, the similar things. And really still, I think even to this day, nobody else has any kind of safety regulation outside of the Texas Mile, of course. They've been around forever. But yeah, but it's really because of my road course history that I was like, okay, we definitely need some of these things. And it's crazy how someone could own a 3,000 horsepower car and have no idea, like, why would I need a Hans device? It's uncomfortable or whatever. It's like, dude, that thing's going to save your life.
What's pretty crazy is I was on the Monoxide podcast and I was talking about, they asked me what's my definition of a street car, and I was like, if you can valet it at a wedding, that's a street car, right?
Yeah.
But it's pretty crazy to think that people want 3,000 horsepower, like, Vipers, Lamborghinis, R8s, GTRs to go fuck around on the street with like a roll bar and a seatbelt, right? It's like, and I said this, like, if you want to build a race car, go build a race car and make it safe, and then like if you can afford a 3,000 horsepower Lamborghini, you can afford another Lamborghini that makes like 1,400 and have a fun little street car,
Yeah.
It's like the whole perception of what's fast and what's like acceptable these days is like so mind-boggling. I'm learning a lot. We're doing this drag and drive car for one of my customers, and it has to be it has to pass like a certain FIA and HRA cage standard.
Yeah.
And the car should go like bottom sevens, high sixes. So you need like a 25.3 chassis.
Yeah.
And I'm learning all about why these bars do this, why this is here, this and that. And it's like, it makes so much sense. It's like the seat, we're putting a pour-in seat in, right? So it's not going to have like a carbon bucket. The cage is your seat. The pour-in is basically just to kind of connect you to the cage, So like if everything disintegrates, the cage is what's holding you and your body in place. And it's like, you saw the car over there. It's a jungle gym, but it's safe.
See, that's the thing too. Like when we started this, if you went 200 miles per hour, you're going to be the fastest at an event. I think Abilene, the stat was if you went 225, you didn't make the top 10. And that's like, if you have, like, you were just talking about the difference between a race car and a street car. If you have a street car, right, like your daily driver or your weekend car, and and it's a 200 mile per hour, no prep, you know, half-mile car.
That's a fast.
You're not
fucking
going to
car.
lose a street race to anybody.
No.
Like, who the fuck are you going to come across?
It's going to be
pull
very
you on
difficult to do that, especially now with, like, you know, GTR R8 Lambo. You know, you have 4-driven wheels. Like, the Viper guys, we like to mess around and say, we can catch you guys on the big end, this and that. But it's like, you're still, I mean, you've seen our Vipers. Like, the Viper, we can get it to get down, but, like, some of these, like, all-wheel drive cars are just getting, you know, absolutely insane. It's like, I give them a lot of credit. They figured a lot of stuff out. But it's like, how many times are you going to come up on a car that will go like a 250, you know, 60 to 130?
Never.
And, you know, it's like, well, I got that car and I'm driving it around on the street like as a daily driver.
I mean, let's be honest here, right? Look at the fastest cars, the fastest street cars, whether you're talking about TX2K, you know, or the Airstrip Attack events, or even like Streetcar Takeover, or whatever, right? The fastest cars, right? Like, you're never going to see that car on the street.
No.
You're never going to see them, right? Like, you're not going to see the General.
Dude, I was driving it around the other day.
No, but you're not like...
I was driving it on the highway. Fuck it.
I mean, you could, but I'm just saying, it's not like you're not driving it every day. You're not like... For an everyday car, if you're making 12 to 1,500 wheel, all-wheel drive, twin-turbo Huracan...
Yeah, no, that's I think the perfect... And even with the Viper, you know, I was just discussing this with somebody else the other day. Like, our 1300X package makes 1,400 to 1,500 wheel. They never have any fucking issues.
Yeah.
You know, that's a car that you can... You remember Tucker Daddis? He had his car at Indy, I want to say the year before I wrecked, so coming up on 3 years. He had the car delivered to him at the track, right?
I remember him, yeah.
And he made, what, 15 passes at 204, 205, and then drove it from Indy to Atlanta.
Yeah.
You know, like, what more of a street car can you get from that? And it's a fast fucking car. Now, you take an all-wheel drive Huracan R8 or GTR and you put 1450 that you can grip everything off the hit, and that's an insanely fast car.
For the street.
For the street.
You don't never need more than that.
You don't need anything more than that. And I think a lot of people lose sight of what's fun versus like the dick swinging competition of like, I have the biggest, baddest shit, you know, but I hate to say this, at the end of the day, most of the people that have the biggest, baddest shit don't even drive their cars. Yeah. You know, I give Mark Rao a lot of credit for driving
Rao drives his car.
He drives his cars, you know, Morris drives his car, you know, but a lot of these guys build these cars and, you know, they want to stick the shop owners in the car to say that they own it. And it's like, man, like, look what happened to me. Eventually, one day, it's how many passes do you think I've done over the last 10 years?
Hundreds,
if not thousands,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not a if, it's a when.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't even going that fast when I wrecked. What I do, like 190 something?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, speaking of that, though, when I went back to watch the video, I don't know if you have many times to sort of try to analyze what happened. One thing I did notice, and I don't know what to make of it, is I did notice that you lifted before you spun. But then the interesting thing I noticed after that is you went back on the throttle, and I wonder, like, do you think that had an effect on you? Because when you come out of like a big turbo car like that, and you get off, and then you come back full throttle, like,
I think what happened was, hey guys, if you're still watching, click the link below and subscribe to my channel. It means a lot. And back to the show. So you know how everybody does like their burnouts, right? And then like you do your burnout, there's like all that rubber laid down, and then you make a left to go to like your flags. Yeah. So I do my burnout right before all the rubber, because like on a clutch car with a radial, it's really easy to get like wheel hop. And as I was slowing down, I felt that I started rolling through the like where everybody was doing their burnouts, and I felt it grip and hop a little bit. Yeah. And I clutched in and I said, man, I think everything's okay. And as I was making that left-hand turn, I heard a little clunk clunk, and I'm like, man, it was probably just some suspension settling. You know, it's got all spherical bearings. Maybe I'm psyching myself out. Let me go make a pass. And if you remember that day, we had a really bad crosswind, like 30 plus mile an hour crosswind. So I go and I take off, and I felt the car start doing this little wavy thing, but I think at that point I saw on the Motec dash like 217, and I was like, oh dude, I'm gonna get the 230, you know? Yeah. And I let off, and when I got back in it, it auto shifted. And when I felt that the car just started shaking so violently, and everything happened so fast. By the time I realized what was happening,
It was like a split second.
well,
I mean,
I let off because I
yeah.
saw the cones, and as soon as I let off, it just I wasn't going fast to the point where I was like, man, I need a parachute, or the car was
Right.
still going dead straight. It was the second I let off, it just literally fucking looped me 180, and then
That's what it
you
looked
know.
like.
But yeah, I'm still here.
But back to the race cars, also, the horrible thing about, I mean, if you're going to drive cars that make 2,500, 3,000 horsepower is, I mean, the drivability is horrible too. You know, like the fuel surging and the turbo lag and all of that. Like it's, yeah, 12 to 1,500.
Is
that's
the sweet
perfect-
spot
yeah,
for
that's the sweet
everything
spot for
you
all
know?
of it.
It was actually really cool driving the General with the automatic in it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was smooth as can be. Like air conditioning on.
Yeah.
I had the radio on. Besides it being loud as fuck, but like it took all the sequential nonsense out of it. It's
Yeah.
like, dude, I could, if I had this, like, let's say 1600, it'd be really fucking cool.
The General, obviously, that's the first car you brought out, the Shift-S3ctor 2016
Yep.
at Pikes Peak. And is that like your favorite car that you've ever built?
It's one of them. Yeah,
One of
definitely up there.
So how hard was it to sell it to Jaddy?
So I had that in the white car.
Yeah.
And I had a real estate deal that was like too hard to pass up. I bought 10 acres at the back entrance of Coda for
shit.
$400,000.
I didn't even know you owned that. That's nice.
I wound up selling it because like we bought it, I want to say like 2019. So that car and the white car had to go. So, but yeah, I sold those two cars. We bought that property, and then we realized we can't get water out there. Like it's so.
Oh.
At that point in time, there was nothing to like bring in sewage and stuff.
Yeah.
It was just a lot, and then I started doing the math on like how much it was going to be.
Yeah.
Because what we were going to do is build like a shop with car storage. Calvo Motorsports will be there. And then in the back, we were going to do these garage condos, and sell and rent them or whatever, and kind of have like a little car community in there. And then we realized how much it was going to cost, and I was like, man. And then COVID hit, and then the price of construction skyrocketed. Everything went through the roof. So I held on to it for like 3 years, and we wound up doubling our money on it.
Oh, nice.
So,
But at least the car is still in-house.
the car is still in house. It's still here. It's kind of we have a really good deal on that car. I still kind of treat it like my own car.
Right.
He buys parts. I do all the labor. So
And he's a cool guy. We love Jaddy.
it is so awesome having people, him, Fabricio, Pitzer, that just they make the racing fun.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember the first event. Well, it was Pikes Peak 2016.
Yeah, it was.
You were asking me for a little while to get out there, and then finally we said we were going to do one. And I remember the weekend before, I was in California, and we were just getting into the big power stuff, and that car made like 18 something, which was astronomical in 2016. And I was talking to Todd at ANC, and I forget what we were talking about, and I was saying about how this fucking VarioCam delete kit that you buy from Prefix was so fucking expensive for this like little billet plunger and something this and something that. And he goes, well, you didn't get the little gold plate that goes on the front? I said, no, I just reused the stock one. I didn't know I needed it. He goes, oh, dude, your motor's probably fucked. So I call the guys. I'm like, hey, and now it's Saturday, right? So I'm in like Temecula or wherever they're at, like, SoCal. I call the guys. I'm like, hey, go to the shop right now, cut my oil filter open. Sure enough, they cut it open. It was full of metal.
Oh, fun.
So we get back from California Monday night, pull the motor out Tuesday. So we had like custom head gaskets that, fucking we couldn't get. We didn't stock a bunch of shit for this because like everything we were doing at that point was stock motor bolt-on cars. We didn't, this was the first big power one we built. And I'll never forget this. What we did was, this is going to sound terrible. We like loosened up the rockers, pulled the cam out, took the crank out from underneath the car, or we flipped the motor upside down, right? Like had the rockers come out, pulled the cam out, pulled the crank out from up top. And dude, we put like, I don't know, 200 cans of brake cleaner through it, fucking slapped that thing back together. Cause out of all the people that said fucking we're going to that event, it was Colin.
Oh, shit.
Out of all the people that usually are like, no last minute shit, this, that, he's like, we're already committed. We got to go.
Yeah.
Right? So it's Thursday night. right? At like 9 o'clock at night, we finally get the car on the dyno. Colin makes a few rips, and we're like, all right, we're going to go home. It's a 20-something hour drive to Colorado,
Yeah, it is,
right?
yeah.
So we're going to go home. We're going to change. We're going to come back, and we're going to change the oil, check it,
Yeah.
right? And then we're going to load up. We checked it, and there was still some metal in it. And Colin's like, we'll just keep changing the oil.
Yeah.
So we load the car up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Friday morning, we drive all the way to Colorado.
Yep.
I think we pulled in at like 8 o'clock at night or something.
Yeah.
And then we drank.
Yeah.
And
We always do.
And then the next morning, my first pass, like I think Colin put a limiter with like the throttle bodies at like 197.
Yeah.
And because stupid ass me, we didn't have fucking any safety in the car besides a harness. There was no cage, and you guys
Yeah.
were like, anything
I was
over
giving you shit.
yeah, anything over 200 miles an hour, you need a cage or like at least a roll bar.
Yeah.
And you're like, you get one warning and then you get kicked out per day.
Yep.
So we were like just trying to work on the car. The car had a few little issues. And then I think like, man, we wound up going like 205 the first day you kicked me out. And then the second day we went 208. And like 208 in a rear-wheel drive car, first time we took the car out, that's at altitude, you know,
Yeah.
it was really impressive.
It was funny because I know Colin had the car dialed because you guys were going 199.5, 199.1. I'm like, these
with a
motherfuckers-
lot of distance to go.
Yeah, you guys were letting off like, almost just barely past the quarter mile, and you were just going 199, 199. I'm like, these guys are cheating the system, right? Like I'm like 200 miles per hour and you need all the safety equipment and you guys dial the whole thing in on the ECU.
And then we would just make that one, yeah.
And then at the end of the day, you would make that pass and then, I'll be like, okay, I get it.
We went to San Antonio Raceway when it made, I don't know, quite a bit power less. It was like a piston rod motor. And they knew about the car and they were like, you go over 100 miles an hour or break into the nines, you're out of here. Yeah. So I would see the 8th mile marker and I would just get on the brakes as hard as I could. And I kept going 10:01 at 99 miles an hour, 10:02 at 99 miles. They were getting so fucking mad at me. And it was just like I was right on that cusp in the car. I think I went like, oh fuck, I want to say like a 570 at 145 in like the fucking quarter, 138 or something at the quarter mile. First time going out with a clutch car on fucking like 17s.
It's funny because just like what we're talking about with the speeds and how you sort of control that. I've had, probably a dozen people over the years say, hey, we love the classes, but maybe you should do a class that we could be competitive in, like a 180 class or something. I'm like, dude, someone's just going to dial into Motec to go 179.8
and just coast
and just freaking do that every run. And how are you going to beat that? Like that's why we can't do like speed based.
You're never going to beat a computer.
No, you won't.
You won't.
And then the other one is like, oh, it's based on a horsepower. I'm like, well, everyone just cheats on that. I mean,
I love watching like the rosters and it's like 2,000 horsepower, 2,500 horsepower, and you're like, dude, that car goes 240 something.
Yeah.
We know what it takes to go in the 240s, right? Yeah. Like, there's no saying, oh, like, yeah, I can go in the 240s with the 2,500 wheels.
Yeah.
It's just not possible.
Yeah, we know after all these years, we definitely have all this data on it, and we know. And a car pulls up, and half the time I can pretty much call what it's going to run. I just know it. I've seen them all.
Man, fuck, dude. Yeah, so it's been almost 10 years.
Almost. And yeah, we drink every event.
We do definitely drink every event.
Except last year, I'll be honest, last year was the most behaved I've ever seen you.
Was my wife around?
She was, and also you've had kids.
I had twins.
You lost a bunch of weight, and you show up to an event and be like, yo, I'm just gonna focus on the team, focus on the cars performing.
We've had the last few events, not only with Shift-S3ctor, but TX2K and just some other things that have been the last, like, I want to say year and a half have been fucking really good.
Yeah.
We went 233 with the white car.
Yep.
I have a group of customers that are just, they go out to have fun. Blake, sadly Gil, Thomas. Gil would come out with his brother, his dad, family, everything, and they really actually the last year he was alive made the half mile a lot of fun.
I don't know if you remember the conversation we had last year for Honda. It was the first event of the year, and we were talking, and you were telling me that you're like, this is the first time in so long that you were just having fun at the event, and you weren't stressed, and a lot of it just had to do with just the people and the team that you were at the event with.
I remember that we had Pitzer, we had Bob Castro, Blake, and we even had the Nth Moto car, Blake's
Jeff Yeah, Jeff was
Prince,
there.
he pitted with us. We
Red
had
GT2
Israel
RS guy.
Flores,
Yeah.
Israel with the GT2. You know,
Yeah.
it was just like a really fun time. Everybody
Yeah.
was just kind of having a good time, making passes. It's like you're not going to go fast at that track, you know.
Yeah.
But it was. I remember it was the first time I met Pitzer once before, but it was the first time we actually went to an event with him. And, you know, his first pass, I forget what happened. Oh, he had to do like 180 pass, 180 mile an hour pass. He did. He come in. He's like, car feels good. And I'm like, all right. Because he bought it at, I think it was third or fourth hand car. And it was never serviced. It still had the original fucking old spark plugs in it.
What the hell?
Yeah, so we did a sequential in it. And the next pass, he comes back, and I think he went like 190 something. He goes, "Oh, we did a bunch of suspension on the car," and he goes, "Hey, the car is shaking violently."
Yeah.
All right, and so we're like, everybody's like, first thing, go to the wheels, go to the suspension. I'm looking at it. I'm like, remember what I said?
Yeah, it was the front splitter.
I said, I bet you it's that front splitter.
Yep.
And everybody was like, even he was like, there's no way it's the splitter. I'm like, I guarantee you, take that fucking splitter off. Next pass, 201. And he goes, yeah, it
fixed it.
Fixed
completely.
it. He goes, how the fuck did you know it was that splitter? I'm like you brought up, road racing. I put an extended front splitter on my Viper. And, you know, the stanchions that, like, you know, hold the splitter up were like, you know, that wire type thing.
Yeah.
And, dude, I remember I was in the back straight at Coda, and this thing just starts, like, shaking to the point your eyeballs are fucking, like, moving like that. I'm like, this car's never done that before. And somebody was like, bro, it's your splitter. Right? They're like, angle it down a little bit and, like, you know, make it hard. And sure enough, I did that. No fucking, it's splitter shake. And so we ripped the fucking splitter off. And he goes out, he makes that pass, and the motor actually wound up spinning a bearing that pass. But he was like, he got his 200 mile an hour shirt, and he came up to me, and he was like, the fact that you could, like, see that it's probably the splitter, you know, was, like, fucking insane. He goes, there was no way I was thinking that was the splitter. He was like, I guarantee you, I was, like, trying to say suspension, the tires are off, this, that.
Nobody
He goes, it was
gonna
violent.
Know that. Yeah, so few people would know that. Actually, I wish, I mean, of course it's impossible, but I wish in a perfect world, everyone would have some road course experience, because it puts you in so much more in tune with the car in every aspect, right? Like the form of racing we do, you know, for Airstrip Attack it's power, right? It's power, but I mean, just the number of times I've seen people spin out under braking because they don't know how to properly brake hard, or like even I've seen guys put giant turbos on a Mustang and keep the cheapest OEM fucking rotors.
Oh, dude.
You know what I mean? And they're like, oh, I can't stop before the end. I'm like, you literally tripled the horsepower of your car and you didn't even touch the brakes. You know what I mean?
What's really funny about some of those guys is, like, you see them on the internet. They're like, that car went 230 in a half a mile. Like, cars do that in the quarter mile, but they don't realize how hard it is to get a car to hook on a dusty runway.
yeah.
Like, it is not the street. The street hooks better than the
street hooks
runway,
better.
you know?
Oddly enough, but yeah, it does hook better on the street.
And it's like, you know, you get all these guys that talk all this shit and this and that. It's like, man, that's hard to do. But I'll tell you, I kind of went the opposite way. So I always had big power shit, you know, Supras, then Vipers, you know, my Porsche shit like that. And then I got into road racing like 2019 and I got hooked on it. And what's funny is the big power stuff made me so more in tune with the road race stuff, because I wasn't scared of the car at all, because the car just felt slow.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing on a road course that feels fast, right?
Yeah.
So where I needed to learn was, like, you know, how to, like, you know, set a line and set a pace and be smooth and, you know, smooth
And
as
keep your
fast
momentum,
and keep
right?
my momentum
Like,
up, and, you know, how to trail brake and things like that. And it's like, I was able to excel really fast because, like, I understood what the cars were doing, because I have to test cars every day. It's like, hey, I got to see if this alignment feels out, or like, you know, just in general, like, I remember the first time we went to Honda, I was with the green car, and the bump steer was off.
Yeah.
And
that, I remember that car was just spinning every gear down the
you
runway.
remember I was
insane.
in the right lane, and I went through the traps at 214 sideways, and I went all the way to across the left lane, almost went into the grass, spun it again, went to the right lane. I put one tire in the grass and then kept going straight. And they pulled the in-car video, and they were like, dude, you were laughing the whole time. And it's like, you know, it's one of those things, like, most people at 200 miles an hour, 215 miles an hour, they lose it. They're going to be, like, shitting their pants. It's like, I felt just very controlled over the whole thing. Like, as much as controlled you can be, kind of going sideways. But
I'll tell you, this is, I think, year 14 or whatever for us. And some people, very few people they want to go that fast. I'll be honest with you. Like, even for me, like, I don't really want to go 230, 240, 250. You know what I mean? You're one of the guys that I see it in your face. Like, you love it, like there's guys that are like that. Like Mark Rao for sure. Like, he just loves the speed. Who the hell wants to go seriously, who wants to go 260 in a standing half, unprepped? You do, right? But there's few. Like, most people don't. Like, another guy like Lucas English, freaking maniac. That guy's legit. Like,
Lucas is a
freak.
fucking maniac.
He's a maniac.
It's yeah.
But there's literally like you, Lucas, Mark. There's like a few guys that actually want to go that fast. Even if the drive is scary.
I was talking to Joe Dame the other day, and we were having a conversation about what feels fast and what doesn't, and how you kind of like test driving these things all the time, how you feel kind of ruined, right? And he told me something. He goes, dude, if the thing doesn't feel like it's gonna fucking kill me, he goes, it's not worth my time.
Yeah.
He goes, I want to feel like this fucking thing is so out of control that that's what is going to give me, like, get my rocks off these days. And it's like, I was thinking about it and I was like, yeah, because, a 220 pass, we make that fucking easy in a Viper. Like, how many of our Vipers are 220 to 230?
Yeah, for you and some of your guys. But I'm saying for the
average.
I think for the average and honestly, even the average driver at the events, like, a lot of them, they don't have a desire to go that fast. That scares people, like, and it's even, I'm sure it's a totally, because I've never been 230, 240, 250. That's got to be insane, like, those speeds. What's the fastest you've been? 230 something? 230?
The fastest I've been was 229.8 in the green car.
And how did, it's not scary. You
don't even notice.
Actually, after your accident, it was either that night or the next day. I remember, like, a lot of people were like, oh, Calvo's not going to race again. I
was trying to get in a car the next day.
Yeah. No, I know. That's what I'm saying.
I was trying to get in my customer's 1800X to make a pass to.
I remember talking to you. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think it was probably the next day. And you were saying, like, people were, like your wife, people were saying, like, you're done racing, right? Like, that was too scary. And you were like, well, that's not going to happen. I'm going to keep racing.
Dude, it's like one of those things. When I was little, I raced dirt bikes, right? And you saw people get hurt or like, I remember at Englishtown, there's just like one tabletop and it was long, like 40 feet long. And I remember I came over it one day and there was somebody at the bottom that like either stalled and dude, I just threw the bike and I hit the fucking ground, dude, like boom, and fucking tumbled or whatever. And it like jarred me, right? And my dad told me, he's like, you just got to go out there and hit that fucking tabletop again. Yeah. And I did it later on that day. And it's like, but it was like, dude, I'm telling you, I was coming up to that tabletop. And the first thing going through my mind is like, man, I remember how much it hurt when I hit the fucking ground, But yeah, dude, it took me a little while to get back into it after that wreck. Yeah. I remember one of the first cars I had to test, and it was like, I don't know, 2-3 weeks after the wreck was Dylan Jacobs' car that makes 2,700 wheel. and I remember, I just remember like getting into it in second gear and like, I kind of got the jitter and then I said, fuck it. I put it in third and just rolled in third, fourth, fifth. And I looked down and it's like fucking, 190 something miles an hour. And I was like, all right, I got it out. It felt good. Like nothing happened. I'm back to normal.
What was the first race after that crash? So there was Indy. And I don't think you drove in Abilene. Abilene was right after that.
Abilene was right after that.
And your wife was there.
My wife was there. That's when the white car went 233.
Yeah. And I don't think you drove that weekend.
No.
I don't think you drove again until I don't think you even drove in Hondo last year.
I haven't driven at any half mile events because my customers all have been wanting to drive.
Yeah.
So I'm like, for me, that works out great. But if my wife said a few things. If I want to drive again, it's got to be my own personal car because she knows the safety will be above and beyond. And then like I had to do all the what is it? My life insurance. I just finished doing that the other day. My life insurance, my estate planning, all that shit. Yeah. So now I would love to hop in a car at Hondo. I think Thomas is a little nervous about making a pass in Ralvo because he's never driven anything, I think, over like 600-700 horsepower. So he asked
Ralvo's what, like 1,800?
2,600.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Did you guys upgrade it? Or was it 2,600 last year?
No, last year it made 1350.
Oh, so it's a big jump.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
yeah. It's got twin 80s on it. So it's got twin 80s, a 9-liter. It's a fast car.
Yeah, I had no idea that you guys upgraded it that much.
Yeah, we put it on the dyno. Man, it was like a few days before Thanksgiving, and Thomas and Gil were going on a family vacation. They were at the airport here in Austin, and they just showed up while we were on the dyno with it. So he got to see it make 2600 wheel before he passed away. So
yeah. By the way, I'm sure you guys can edit, but I mean, do you want to talk about that at all?
we can. I mean, you know, I'm really happy that we'll have a memorial for him. He loved, you know, me and Gil he had a Gen 2 Viper that he brought here a few times for service, and we became a little friendly. And then it wasn't until the last year, you know, me, his brother, his dad, Blake Weaver, like we all became very, very close friends.
Yeah.
Like we're on a group chat that fucking all day we're bullshitting. Our wives are always pissed off at us about it. But you know, it's a very sad thing when you know, we just finished the car, and I got a phone call that Sunday that he passed away. So
Yeah.
I think it's awesome we're having a memorial for him at this Hondo.
Yeah.
You know, it's his brother, man. I've never seen two brothers so close. They did literally everything together. So Thomas said he's going to take the car to every event. So hopefully we get him some seat time in it,
Yeah.
and he could win the manual class for his brother. So that'll be a really cool thing.
That would be awesome. And one of my best memories and my last memory with Gil was actually in Abilene's, the last event of last year. I don't know if you remember, you were late coming to setup day. Do you remember this? You kept calling me. It's going to be 2 hours. Then it was like, oh, no, it's going to be another half hour.
Dude, I got there within like 10 minutes or 3 minutes of closing, right?
No, I stayed an extra hour for you, remember? I did. But they were there drinking beers, just hanging out.
Yeah.
Blake, Gil, Thomas. And, dude, Gil is just so funny, dude. He was trolling you. He's like, tell that motherfucker to drive faster. He's like, that useless fuck. He's always late. It was so funny. And because I kept driving around, because I was trying to make sure everyone else left. But those guys that let stay because we were waiting for you. And every time I drove by, man, Gil was just trolling me, trolling you.
He
just
was
so funny.
He was such a good person.
Yeah.
You know, fuck, man. I talk to his brother almost every day.
Yeah.
It's just very sad, but
Absolutely.
Hopefully we keep his memory alive with everything. And, you know, I know his brother's going to try to hit every event and try to win manual class this year. The car should do it. So.
Yeah. That would be awesome if they were able to accomplish that.
So, yeah, I think he told me, like, in that moment of silence, he's like, dude, just make a pass for me and just crack 200. So Gil can, that's all he wanted was that damn 200-mile-an-hour shirt.
What was Gil's best?
195.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, 195. And, yeah, so. So with a 1,350 horsepower car. So like the whole joke behind Ralvo was I told him don't buy that car, right? Because it was an RSI car. I'm like, you're going to be spending all the money on it again anyway, right? Like, and he's like, it's just such a good deal. I can't. And Gil, he's like, I can't turn up this good of a deal. And I'm like, dude, it's going to be a fucking pain in my ass. And sure enough, it was a pain in my ass. So like, the deal with Ralvo was it was an RSI car that we were kind of Calvoing little by little.
Okay.
And then finally the motor went and in Kansas, and he had us turn off the fuel pressure safeties or whatever because he was trying to go 200.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I think he got really close.
Yeah.
And I wound up smoking a bunch of pistons or something. But yeah, so that was the Ralvo. The Ralvo joke.
Now I know why it's called Ralvo.
But man, yeah, dude, I can't believe it's been 10 fucking years we've been, right?
I know.
Yeah, 9
like
years. 9 years.
9 years. 9 years. And I mean, you consistently show up with, you know, the most Vipers. You know, you guys are. I just over there. I was looking at your trophies earlier. You have like 2 walls of trophies for your accomplishments.
And that's not. Those are all my trophies.
Yeah,
those
no, that's
aren't
not even
my
all your
customers. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I think even for like Hondo this weekend, you're showing up with like 7 or 8 Vipers.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, like your guys are like down, and they're down to race. They're always fun.
We have a really, really good group of people. I'm super fortunate. This is like what I've been trying to work for all these years, because we went through like a lot of trials and tribulations, because I think, you know, I went racing for me to go racing, right? Yeah. And then I would have, you know, Colin's dad got into it, Fabricio got into it, and we were like, we had this little group of fun people. And then, you know, over the years, we just had so many different customers like come and go. And a lot of them took like the fun out of racing, you know, and it's like, dude, this isn't Formula One. This is supposed to be fun. And you're stressing yourself out, and you're stressing me out. Yeah. And there's no point to doing that. Like, if you miss an event, who cares? There's more events. Like, it's not a big deal, you know. It's like people like get so crazy about them. And it's like, dude, you know, granted, we're doing some late night last minute shit right now, but it's, you know, people don't realize like the last minute shit, it really never turns out well. Very rarely. Like,
definitely,
you know, we've done the same car over and over and over again, you know, but it's like, it's tough to beat that into people's heads, you know, that it's not the smart thing to do to hop in a car and go, you know, 180, 190, 200,
you
230.
finish the car at 4 a.m.
Yeah, at 4 a.m. Then I've done it. I've done it plenty of times, and it's like sometimes it goes good and sometimes it goes bad. And it's
I don't know how many times, thousands of times, I've told drivers, friends, like, look, you know the date of the event, you know, set your date to be done like a week or 2 before, because you always end up, you know, like last minute, you know, like 2, 3 in the morning finishing.
It's tough too, because you got to deal with like a lot of part companies. And then like this last 4 weeks, dude, let me tell you something. If it's not one company that dropped the ball, it's another on anything and everything. You know, and it just puts you so far behind. And you know, we have all the race cars that are going to your races, but we also have another 20 cars in here that are just customer cars that don't go racing, that just want their cars back. And it's like, you have to have this mix of trying to figure out how to, you know, work all that in together. And then all of a sudden you have part companies dropping the balls. And it's funny. I'm friends with some of my sales reps at some of these companies, like, you know, and it goes back to what you and I were kind of discussing earlier about the younger generations of kids today, that they can't find competent shipping kids. You know, like I got pistons, I don't know how many times that it had the right piston on, or the right wrist pin on the invoice, and I was shipped the wrong wrist pin. You know, and it shows on the because you get your invoice and then the shipping, you know, package, or the shipping
packing slip,
and it will literally have the wrong size fucking wrist pin on it, and it's like over, like, you see that box over there right behind the metal beam?
Yeah.
Somebody sent me 10 individual pistons instead of a box. Everything is individually boxed. Like, you know how much time that wasted from the company to box 10 individual things instead of like, it just, you know, we were talking about your son and the younger generation of people today. I can't find young kids that like understand, like, this is a race car shop. Like, there are long hours here, you know, like when stuff needs to get done, it gets done. Or like, I don't want to babysit people here. It's like, you know, it blows my mind. We were talking about, you know, kids painting a wall. Yeah. Right? Like, dude, fucking, that was like, paint your house, paint this, paint that, go fucking power wash the deck, stain the deck. That's all stuff we did when we were like middle school and high school. And like the younger generation of kids today, like, forget engine assembly, wiring, welding, fabricating. They can't do the simple things like change a flat tire, or like, you know, assemble fucking IKEA furniture or something. Like, it blows my mind. And, you know, I was talking actually to my accountant earlier today, and he goes, you know, in another 10 years, people like you and your shop, right, are going to be in such demand, because there's nobody to come take over as people are retiring.
Yeah, for sure.
AJ Peterson was telling me you know, he works with Roush. AJ does all my suspension. He owns Lone Star Racing, huge road race team, AMG GTR or GT3 stuff. And Roush does their motors on some of the Viper stuff. And he told me, you know, Roush has 15,000 employees, and he goes, they don't have anybody like under the age of 35 that works there because there's no new generations of people coming in. And as the people are retiring every year, he goes, dude, the company's getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah, and you've complained to me many times, like you struggle to find staff here. Like you want to hire people, you need new techs or whatever, and
Dude, it's
I mean, you had a tech recently that was horrible. Like it's just
I had a slew of in the last 2 years horrible techs, to be honest with you, and then finally horrible techs and fab guys, and finally Jaime told me, he goes, dude, we're not hiring anybody else. Like you're just gonna have to get your ass in the back again and start doing stuff. Hector comes part-time and helps with the fab stuff. He likes to do the cool fun projects. He just got burnt out on doing like the same monotonous build, just headers and intercoolers and headers. He likes to, you know, build full new stuff on the race car shit. So like doing the R8, you know, the R8 R&D was kind of fun for him and stuff, you know, and now we're going to have all that CNC'd. So all he has to do is just weld it together for me, you know, weld it.
But you've spent a lot of time fabbing in the last year.
Yeah.
Like when I call you, you'll be like, dude, I'm like 10 hours in a row. Just
that and like, you know, learning the machine shop stuff. You know, we just rented the building behind us. That's where we're going to be putting the machine shop for the engine stuff. It's, you know, they're retiring. Dennis is, he said, that's it. December, I'm done. So, because I'm 70, I've been doing this shit since I'm 15.
It's going to definitely be interesting, this next generation and what business and industry is going to look like, you know?
Well, you have these guys that make so much money on, I'm terrible with like marketing and social media stuff, right? I just post fucking whatever I'm doing at the shop or whatever, right? But like, you know, I had that guy Quiet, you know, that TikTok guy. I didn't know who he was or this, that. We just built him a car recently, and he was just like telling me all the merch and this and that. And I'm like, this kid's, you know, 23, 24 years old, probably making, you know, a good lick of money a year on just posting TikTok. Yes, he has a brand, you know, he figured out that like, I'm going to have a brand, I'm going to do this. And I think a lot of kids see that, you know, and they think, oh, we can make all this money off YouTube and this and that, or like, you know, girls on OnlyFans, like fucking dude. I mean, dude, it's like,
give them the options, right? Like you're an 18-year-old kid, and you could go to some form of school that's going to teach you, you know, a very specific skill that you can make $100 an hour, $200 an hour for the rest of your life, or whatever that is. And then you, in the other hand, you're like, well, you know, you could also make videos, travel the world, post videos, and make like $500,000 a year, you know? Like when you look at that, right? I don't blame them. If I'm 18, I'm looking at that, I'm going to take the easy way out too, and hope that I become rich and famous.
But the problem is 98% of them don't.
Right.
And then they end up being useless.
Yeah.
You know, I think, I hate to say it, like we're a society of a lot of useless people. You know, the younger generations, not, I think like 35 is kind of the cutoff, but like, man, it's hard. It's hard to find, you know, hard workers that just want to like, you know, when we got into this, like, me and Colin at the old shop, dude, we'd be there all night because we just loved it, dude. You know, now we're fucking old and tired and stuff, but it was like, I don't see the passion in the younger generations of kids to want to do that. They're just, you know.
I mean, just that, like, because you're an entrepreneur, you know, and you have this successful shop, but like, when you think back to the early years, because I've you know, started a few companies in my life, and that, you know, those first years, year 1, year 2, sometimes year 3 even, the hustle for nothing is just, you have to have that drive without seeing anything in return. You know what I mean?
Dude,
you're like losing money, or you're not making much money, and you're hustling 12 hours a day, doing bullshit stuff that no one even would ever want to do. And you're doing it for free, right?
Yep.
Just to
get your name out there, just to help out. Dude, when I bought the General, I W-2'd myself like 30 grand a year. I was a one-man deal. You know, Colin was tuning, but he worked at, I think, Dell at the time, and I had like 1 or 2 little helpers or something. And you know, we decided, I was like, I'm gonna go buy a Gen 5, right? And Chris LaBeouf had one at the Dodge dealer here, and I went there, and I'm like, I don't know how much money I make. He's like, you make $250,000 a year. Cool. Came back. He's like, approved. And he's like, yeah, here's your payment. It was $1,876 a month. And I was like, holy fuck. And I was like, well, I put the whole fucking turbo kit on a credit card, you know, all the parts and everything. And dude, the first 2 years, let me tell you, it was a struggle, man. But like, not many kids. But dude, we had that car. I drove it around for, I think, a week and a half, right? I put 600 miles on it. Yeah. And then it was turboed in a week. You know, like, we didn't have a hanger that fit the fucking fuel hat, so I took another fucking hanger, laid it down to fit, like, you know what I'm saying? I just took bar stock and fucking drilled fucking, it's like, dirty work. Yeah, and we made it work. You know, the car was up and running. Like, yeah, was it the best quality product in the world? No, but it was a working Gen 5 turbo car in 2 weeks, you know, and then we went through the whole ECU stuff and sending the car to Motec, and you know, it was at Motec for 6 months. Then we got the package back and never worked right. And then Colin's like, I'm gonna develop my own way to sniff can. And I was like, dude, you have no fucking clue what you're like. That's like way over our head. And that motherfucker stayed right there for 6 weeks every night after work, and he had he's never done M1 build anything before and had a working package in 6 weeks. Yeah. No lights on the dash, everything running perfectly, and that was. Everybody that knows Colin knows he's a badass. So yeah. But yeah, it's my first company. I quit like a really nice suit and tie job and started a tech company with a couple of friends. And the first year was like literally 12 hours a day doing bullshit like cold calling and stuff, and you know, East Coast sales presentation trips and shit. And I made 18 grand my first year, and I left the job that paid me 5 times that much. You know what I mean? Like that, but who's doing that today? Like, you know, and I was 25, you know what I mean? And those first 2 years was just so much grinding, like just, and every night you go to bed like, how the fuck am I going to pay my rent? You know, how am I going to pay for this and that? Cause you're just not making money. Dude. And it ended up paying off later, but it's just that initial startup. They don't, so hard. Everybody wants this instant gratification without putting in the work. Like I got kids that come here like straight out of like some technical school or something, right? They're like, they want $100,000 a year. And I'm like, what do you bring to the table that like warrants $100,000 a year, you know? And they're like, well, you know, I know this and I know that. And you know, what I did with a few of them was I started them off at like 60 for 3 months. And I said, if you can prove yourself in 3 months, then none of them make it. Yeah. It's rough. It's the work ethic is just not there anymore. And it's like, you got to really have a passion for this stuff. It's got to, you know, I've seen a lot of things like where people are like, oh, you know, he makes all this money off these builds and this and that. And, you know, I was on this other podcast and they were like, yeah, of course he's going to say how there's no money in it. So it doesn't make it look like he's taking his customers' heads off. And they're like, $700,000 for a fucking build, this, that. It's like, no, you take an ACR, right? That's 250, 300 grand, right? And then to make 3,000 horsepower, what do you think that costs? You know? Yeah. It's you're gonna be around that $700,000, you know, number. Just I mean, $700,000 at a Shift-S3ctor event for 3,000 horsepower is cheap. Well, I mean, we could say that pretty easily. Yeah, you know? But people don't get that, and then like you know, these kids, they just don't. I don't know. It's I try to talk people like I genuinely try to give people the right advice, you know, and you'll get guys who have never raced in their life show up to an event, right, and they've got like an R8. You know, V10 R8, super sick. They go out there, they go like 156. And then the next thing you know, they want to get 3,000 horsepower. And I'm literally like, no, stop. Like, just stop. Like, are you like rich? You know what I mean? That's like my first question, because you think like people think that they're going to build anything that's making 2,500 wheel and up, and it's going to be like, you're going to get a warranty or reliable. Toyota Camry reliability and this, that. It's like, no, dude, like that thing could fucking like grenade itself on the dyno. Very first pass. And it doesn't have to be the engine builder, the tuner, or the shop's fault. It could be a faulty fucking rod casting for it. You know what I'm saying? It's just a part of chasing that much horsepower, right? Yep. Like it could blow up on the first pass, or it'll go 10 passes. And if it goes 20 passes, you're fucking lucky, right? Like I try to talk sense to them. I'm like, look, why don't you go like, you know, like why don't you go like 180, right? And see how you like it, right? And just have some fun. Then they get that car, and they're scared of it.
Yeah.
You know, they don't want to drive it. They don't want to look like an idiot in front of their friends, but they want to say they have it, right? And it's like, you've seen this plenty of times with a bunch of other people. It's like, just get in the car or work your way up. You know, like going from a stock R8 to a 900 horsepower R8. Yeah, that's a big jump. It almost doubled the power, but you'll get used to it. And then when you get used to it, go to the next step up, like 1200 horsepower. Do it in baby increments. Don't just go wild. And I think that's what also you'll see the cost difference from going. The jump from like 1300 horsepower to 1800 horsepower is
huge.
Double. Yeah,
it's huge. I mean, you're now anytime like you have to start doing stuff like building the motors and like my favorite thing would be like take a stock car and push it to its like sort of like OEM stock block limits, right? And to see how you enjoy that. Race that for a year. It's going to be super reliable and just have fun. People show up all the time like, I'm going to go 200. I'm like, you don't have to go 200.
Yeah.
Right? Like 180, like honestly, even today, if you have a 180 car, it's pretty fucking fast. That's a fast fucking car, right? Like you're like, you could run into 50 people on the street and you're going to win 48 of those races in a 180 car. Think about that. People, because of all the, the marketing and all the accomplishments, of course, from guys who have, put the money into the builds and driven the cars and they're badasses, and they're going 240, 250, 260. It almost makes like the other speeds seem insignificant, right? But seriously, if you're like 180, 190, 200, you're a badass and you should just keep that.
Dude,
that's good.
Our stock motor bolt-on manual car makes 1300 wheel, right? CM 1300, and they go like 192 to 198 or something, And that's, I drove one the other day for the first time in a long time, and I was like, man, this is actually still pretty fucking quick. It gets up there fast. It's fun, reliable as all fuck. And it's like, it's just.
And that's what you want. You want a car that is going to drive similar to OEM, just a fuck lot faster, right? You don't want a car that's going to start giving you issues and you take your wife out to dinner and fucking, it's like stalls or some
stalls,
weird shit.
Smells bad, fucking this, all sorts of shit.
You see, that's race car, right? And if you're going to build that race car, then you better be able to afford to maintain it and keep it running, because it's not just building the car. Like racing is an entire other list of expenses that, you should know beforehand. Yeah. So, well, dude, thanks for having me here.
No, thanks for coming. I've been trying to get more and more of like people that I've had, a lot of interactions with over the last 10 years that have helped my business, and we go back and forth helping obviously your business grow and stuff. It's been, I finally got you in Texas in my hometown. So
I've really enjoyed the 10 years we've had friendship wise and also supporting each other. And I just love what you do. And I'm really looking forward to this weekend, the half-mile championship, Shift-S3ctor Airstrip Attack. And you're going to be out there with 7-8 Vipers and an awesome crew and sort of chase, I think you're chasing 4 classes this year, manual, NA, 2-wheel drive, and ethanol class. So good luck to you. I hope you guys fucking do really well this year.
Thank you.
And I can't wait. And anybody watching this, if you want to come meet Calvo in person, bullshit with him a little bit and check out his builds, we'll be in.
I'll be at all of them.
It's awesome because he's so good to the fans and stuff, and he'll show you the cars, the builds, and all the differences in terms of the different types of builds that they work on.
You remember when the record Zach set in Indy like 5 years ago? He made 48 half-mile passes in a day.
Yes.
Remember?
The purple car.
He was
48 passes in one day.
48 half-mile passes in one day. He would come up, and there was a line of people. Yeah. Remember, he started giving rides. He'd come in and go, make another pass, make another
passes.
pass.
Like I just got an email yesterday from somebody thinking about signing up. He's like, hey, how many passes do you think I can get? Because he mentioned he goes to some other events and only gets like 3 passes in a day or something. And I was like, dude, you can get it as many as you want. It's how persistent you want to be, right? Like if you want to just sort of kick back and do 8-10 passes a day, that's easy. But if you're like just keep getting in line, you easily do 20, 25.
Yeah, he would literally come back, stuff somebody else in the car. He was just, and we didn't know any of these people. Yeah. They just lined up, and he's like, "I'll take them all for rides."
Yeah, he did, and he did.
And he did.
He gave like 30 ride-alongs. It was insane.
It was fucking insane. He's like, "I have the new half-mile record for
and
most
that record
passes
still stands
for most passes in a day."
And I've had a couple of people try to beat him, and I think the second place is did 35, 36.
Yeah,
they went out and they would try, and they couldn't get near the 48. So,
Dude, I'll never forget it. It was just
never
like
will
back
either.
and back and back and back. I was like, holy fuck.
Is he still racing? Does he still have that car?
He still has the car. We turboed it. Makes 1950
Tell him
wheel.
to come out. Tell him to come to Indy or something.
It's been together since 21.
Yeah.
He takes it once a week for a little stroll,
Yeah.
this, that, and he's like,
He's good with that.
it's good. He goes,
Yeah.
it's been dialed. He goes, I literally have a 1950 wheel horsepower car that I haven't touched in 4 years.
I think he came to Kansas like 3 years ago just to hang out, didn't he? Did he
Maybe,
not?
I don't know. There's so many.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this weekend.
Cool.
we
This
started
weekend,
off.
and we'll
Thanks
go
for
from
having
there.
me.
Thanks
Yeah,
for
good
coming.
times,
Thanks for
dude.
being in Austin. So
Hell yeah.
we'll go from there.
All right.
Oh.